The August 13th, 2024 Plan Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Anna here. Kupczynski here.
Lorick here. Gavich here.
Guzikowski here.
Seifert here.
We will now move on to approval of minutes of July 23rd, 2024. I'll give everybody a few minutes to look it over. If there's any questions, discussions, omissions, or errors, please just take the floor. You are all satisfied? Motion, please.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of July 23rd, 2024.
Lorick seconds. Roll call, beginning with Christine.
Anna, aye.
Alj, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorick, aye. Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Okay, item 4 is review and discuss reports on recent common council actions. We did have none currently. Item 5 is to review and discuss the report on the recent Board of Housing and Zoning Appeal actions. Melanie?
Yes, on August 5th, the Board of Zoning and, the recent Board of Housing and Zoning Appeals, variances approved in case number 24-007, a request by Andrew Walters for the following. A variance from Oak Creek Municipal Code 17.0403, subsection D, 4G.1a, which states the garage may be set ahead a maximum of 5 feet from the front facade of the home, inclusive of porches, bay windows, or other minor projections. A variance from Oak Creek Municipal Code 17.0403, subsection D, 4G.1b, which states if the garage is set ahead from the front facade, as detailed in subsection D4G.1a above, it shall not exceed 45% of the facade's total width. The appellant requested relief from the above code sections in order to build a home with an attached garage that will be 52% of the front facade and project 10 feet from the front facade. Based on the findings, the board granted the variance.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Item 6 is the review and discussion on recent quarterly Parks and Recreation Commission actions. We will receive the next report October the 22nd, 2024. We'll get us to item 7. 7A is a public hearing on a proposed sign appeal at 140 East Rawson, submitted by St. John's Properties, and it would allow the applicant to install additional monument signs. Melanie?
So this sign appeal was actually revised as the applicant had revised their original master sign plan to not have an additional monument sign.
As it is a public hearing, you want to read it into record? Oh. You just told me they withdrew, didn't you? Is this being canceled?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then I stand corrected. My staff is always right. That sign appeal has been withdrawn by the applicant, so we will move on to 7A, and it is a public hearing. A master sign reviews, again, submitted for, is that one still good?
Yes, the master sign plan is still good.
It is, again, for a multi-tenant commercial building in 140 East Rawson. Melanie?
The maximum square footage that will be allowed for window signs, wall signs, will depend on the building. There are a few buildings on this site. For all the buildings, any window signs are allowed to be up to 25% of the window that it is on. Building 100 will allow up to 84 square feet depending on the bay. On screen is the proposed monument sign and placement in relation to the building 100. The monument sign will be required to be landscape per code. Building 200 and 300 will be in kind, and the wall sign square footage will depend on it being single or double bay tenant. Single bays will have up to 30 square feet. Double bays will have maximum of 60 square feet. On screen is examples of single versus double bay tenants' wall signs. Shown is the directory sign for building 200 and 300, which will be located on building 200 screening wall. In yellow on screen is the monument directory sign and the wall directory sign. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Thank you. As this is a public hearing, anybody wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the podium, state your name and address. We will make 3 calls. This will be the first. Second call. And third and final call. We will now close the public hearing and go on to consideration of approval of that sign variance. Is the applicant here? Do they wish to speak on anything or wait for questions? Okay. Let's start. Fred, you're up first. How about it?
Questions at this time?
Okay. Chris?
I have no questions either.
Greg?
Just one question for the applicant.
Commissioners, Jason Akilski, 2000 Pewaukee Road, Waukesha, Wisconsin, 53188.
For the single tenants, it's saying a maximum of 30 square feet, and double tenants a maximum of 60. I'm assuming you kind of are looking for the signs to match. So are you just looking for double the length versus an all-over bigger sign?
Yeah, so if we like to have the signs, above the entrances. So if it's a double tenant, if they take 2 bays, then they can have, a bigger sign on the 2 panels over the entrance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Ashley?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
Nothing here.
I have nothing myself, so there's no further discussion. Motion on the item?
Moves to approve the master sign plan submitted by Jason at Kilski, St. John's Properties for the multi-tenant commercial buildings at 140 East Rawson Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect, and 2, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
And a
Hubert
second.
seconds.
And we have a motion and a second. Roll call, starting with Steve.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seipert, aye.
Anna, aye.
Okay. Moving right along, item 7C is another public hearing on a proposed sign appeal for 340 East Putes Road submitted by the Oak Creek High School that would allow an applicant to install a monument sign with an electronic message board that is exceeding the 50% of the face of the sign. Melanie?
I think we have to go back to 7B.
Did I skip 7B?
Yes.
Sorry. 7B, public hearing on a proposed sign appeal from Miller's Way submitted by Jason Atiski, St. John's Property, and would allow the applicant to install additional monument signs on the same frontage. Melanie?
A public hearing for a sign appeal will be held on August 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Common Council Chambers. Appellant is St. John Properties, Inc., tax key number 7669012-000. Property location 7126 to 7308 South Miller's Way. To request a variance from 17.0604 subsection C 3, which states a maximum of 2 multi-tenant monument signs shall be permitted per lot and shall be displayed on different lot frontages. If granted, the variance would allow the applicant to install additional multi-tenant monument signs on the property located at 7126 to 7304 South Millers Way. The zoning of the property is LM1 light manufacturing. All interested persons wishing to be heard are invited to be present. Dated this 24th day of July, 2024. Plan Commission, City of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. As Melanie said, this is a public hearing. We will make 3 calls. This will be the first regarding the sign appeal. This will be the second call. Third and final call. Anybody wishing to speak will need your name and address at the podium. Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and go on to consideration. Christine, you want to start us off?
Yes, so I have a question for the applicant.
Jason Akilski, 2000 Pewaukee Road, Suite A, Waukesha, Wisconsin, 53188.
So can you explain what is the reason for the appeal?
Yeah, we're looking to have a sign at the entrance that identifies like the development itself, and then individual directory signs for each building that give the building address and then the tenants within that building. So there'll be 4 buildings on the property. So we're looking for a sign for each building and then 1 at the entrance.
Okay.
So I have,
I guess, so what is the variance that it's
well, I'm
above
only
the
allowed
standard?
2 signs.
Okay, so
per
you have
lot.
extra 4 that
So
you need to
yeah,
add?
I'm looking for an extra 3, right?
3,
So I have,
okay. Yes.
Jason, you gotta be on the mic.
Yep.
You can pass this one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Is that it, Christine?
Yes, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
I think they look good and I support it. No questions.
Brad?
No questions.
I have none neither, so we can move right ahead with a motion.
Seibert moves that the Planning Commission approves a sign variance allowing the installation of 5 multi-tenant monument sign on the same frontage on the property at 7126 and 7308 South Millers Way.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Anna, aye.
Balch, aye.
And then we have the master plan, proposed master plan sign submitted by Jason Ateski for the multi-tenant commercial buildings on the properties located at 7126 and 7308 South Millers Way. Melanie.
As proposed, each building will have wall signs, optional window signs, and a monument sign. Wall signs, maximum square footage will be dependent on the building. Window signs will be allowed to cover no more than 25% of the window that it is on. There will be a total of 5 monument signs on the property. Building 100 will allow wall signs to be up to 36 square feet, and there will be a directory monument sign. On screen is that proposed monument sign. Buildings 200, 300, and 400 will be in kind, where the wall sign maximum square footage will depend if it is a single bay or a double bay tenant. Single bay tenants will be allowed up to 30 square feet, and double bay tenants will be allowed up to 60 square feet. On screen are those directory monument signs for buildings 200, 300, and 400. Just the example of single versus double bay tenant wall signs on the screen. In red is circled where the 5 monument signs will be located on the property. Shown is the proposed sign that will be by the entrance for that monument. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Thank you very much. This one does not need a public hearing, correct? Or it is a public hearing. But we're dealing with 7B2. Okay. Okay, so then we're just down to the master. Okay. Is there anybody wishing to speak on it? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to discussion. Well, Christine, anything?
Just one question. Is this the sign, the master sign, is it going to be lit up or illuminated? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
I'm just clarifying this for myself. The last item was the variance, and we approved that in order for it to be put in the master sign plan, which we're doing now, correct? I have no questions.
Okay. Chris?
No questions.
Brett?
No questions.
No, nothing out of me. Okay. With that, motion.
Clerk moves to approve the master sign plan submitted by Jason Akilski, St. John's Properties for the multi-tenant commercial buildings at 7126, 7308 South Millers Way with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call beginning with Greg.
Lork, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Pouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
And item 7C, it's a public hearing on a proposed sign appeal at 340 East Putes Road submitted by the Oak Creek High School. Would allow the applicant to install a monument sign with an electronic message board exceeding the 50% of the face sign. Melanie, would you want to read that in?
A public hearing for a sign appeal will be held on August 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Common Council chambers. Appellant is Oak Creek Franklin School District, tax key number 827-9028-000, property location 340 East Putes Road. To request a variance from section 17.0607 subsection C1, which states the area of the sign devoted to the electronic message board shall not exceed 50% of the sign area of which it is a part, or 50 square feet, whichever is more. If granted, the variance would allow the applicant to install 1 electronic message board, which constitutes more than 50% of the sign area of which it is a part on the property located at 340 East Putes Road. Zoning of the property is I-1 institutional. All persons wishing to be heard are invited to be present. Dated this 24th day of July, 2024. Plan Commission, City of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. The applicant is looking for approval for a variance to the code section that limits the percentage that the electronic message board can take up of the monument sign. On screen is the current one on the left. The proposed one will be on the right. We were also provided a night view of the proposed sign. Staff does not make recommendations on sign appeals, but the variance considerations are on screen for Plan Commission consideration.
Okay. As this is a public hearing, we'll open it up. There will be 3 calls on the school sign. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium. Name and address. This is the first call. Second call. Name and address, please. And you can pull the microphone down.
Thank you. Happy Tuesday. I am Jana Westfall with Lumberg Electric with the signs. Address is 4085 North 128th Street, Brookfield, Wisconsin 53005. The request is in variance for the overall size of the electronic message center that will be posted. It is around 75% to 80% of the entire cabinet. This is a bittersweet placement for the sign. We chose to reuse the existing base, which is the brick base, to eliminate removal costs, demolish costs, as well as like landscaping issues as well. In addition, it is a bittersweet placement because it is in such a key intersection. However, it is only visible on one side when most other adjacent monument signs are visible from both sides of the street. We only have one side visible, so we are hoping it can compensate for the overall display center for the electronic message center. And we are also designed it to be similar to the existing one with the performing arts. It has a similar concept as well. And that is all.
Okay, thank you. Third and final call. Anybody wishing to speak? Yes.
Hi, Blaze Paul, 1700 Tamarack Street, South Milwaukee. I serve as a Chief Business Finance Officer for the school district, and as you can see between this comparison, one sign is very outdated, hard to read, that's already set back a little bit on that corner. The other sign, the proposed sign here, much easier to read, gonna be much more robust. It's kind of will be the flagship sign of the comprehensive 912 Oak Creek High School campus. So it's, like Dana mentioned, matching it into the PAEC sign. It's further down Putes as far as the look. So really the goal is having more robust communication with the community on a corner that we know is busy. Right now it's very hard to read the other sign, very outdated. So just really refreshing the area and the communication with the community for a high school that's about 2,200 students. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody else wishing to speak? Okay, we'll now close the public hearing and we will go to the commission. Christine?
Just one question. I'm not sure. The sign is going to be at the same location. It's just the size of the screen that is going to change, right?
Yes, it is at the same location.
Okay.
The EMC is pretty close to the similar size. As you can see, it is still pretty big. So it'll be the same location, almost roughly the same size.
Yeah, so Melanie, can you go back to so it's just a brick portion is going to go away and it's just going to be increasing the size of that?
Correct. We will be making the most out of the already existing cabinet.
Okay.
And it is also easier to read, being that it is more visible in larger print.
Yeah, which makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. Steve?
Oh, I like it. I think it'd be a good improvement.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
I agree that it'll aesthetically be an improvement. Then, as he stated, that's a prominent, busy intersection, so I don't think the light will be an issue. There's no adjacent homes on that corner, so I have no issues.
Chris?
I agree. This is a nice update. So.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, it's time to get in the 20th century here. And it looks
Thank you
pretty
for the
good.
compliments. I appreciate
It
it.
looks pretty good. I'd even enlarge the address, but when you got glasses this thick,
You know, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Anyways, okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll entertain a motion.
Seifert moves that the planning commission approves the sign variance allow the installation of a monument sign with an electronic message board that exceeds 50% of the face of the sign on the property at 340 East Putes Road.
Park seconds.
Roll call, beginning with myself. Aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Okay, that will get us to item 8 in old business, and that is consideration and review of a preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Ahmad Adid Engineering for Lucy Meadows single-family residential subdivision located at 9830 South Shepherd Avenue. Christy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item was held and withdrawn from the applicant at the last Plan Commission meeting. Just had a little bit more getting our ducks in a row for this particular application. So the applicant did submit the preliminary plat as was suggested and recommended with more detail and just more technical aspect. And this is a pretty straightforward application. It's a 6.8 acre site. They are proposing to split it into 10 single family lots with 2 outlots. You see a picture of the actual property from Shepherd Avenue looking east in front of you. And then the next screen actually shows the true preliminary subdivision plat drawn up by a surveyor. It identifies the wetland areas that will be removed in the southeast and a little thumb of the wetland area at the northwest corner of the site. Those wetland removals are approved by the DNR already and identified on the plat survey. There is no tree inventory. This site is, you know, there's just like volunteer growth, I'll call it. It's nothing, no significant trees that the city would want kept. We have standards, calibers, that sort of thing. So there are no trees for a tree inventory to be replaced on this particular site. There was just a little technical clarity. There was a 25-foot easement identified on the property outside of this parcel to the southeast, and that has been removed from the plans because that is a 25-foot easement that was never truly recorded. So that's been removed from the plans. There's a temporary cul-de-sac at the end for Outlot 1. And with that, the procedure for a preliminary subdivision plat is that if this is approved by the Plan Commission, from then on they work with engineering departments with the technicalities, stormwater review, enter into a development agreement, that sort of thing. And then once everything is approved by engineering, then the developer can go forward with the infrastructure improvements. Then after the infrastructure is complete, then a final subdivision plat is before the Plan Commission and the Common Council. So this is, you know, this is pretty much the only review by the Plan Commission before all the details are worked out engineering wise and before you start seeing a shovel in the ground. With that, Plan Commission, or excuse me, staff recommends approval with the conditions, standard conditions for a subdivision plat and engineering technicalities moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Although not a public hearing, I know we did have quite a few residents come out the last time, and I know it was held. Does anybody have any comments, or you want to wait on discussions? I know Christy's been in contact with some of the folks over that easement, and that might have helped answer some questions. So, nobody? Okay, I will go to the commission. Brad, you want to start us off this time?
Okay, I'm just a little concerned about the wetlands they have that they want to replace. And I'm just wondering how that's going to work out, of how they're going to fill that wetland area in. There are 3 spots that they have on the map. I'm a little concerned about filling that in. And is the developer applicant here?
Can you come up, sir? We'll need your name and address. And just kind of spell out the wetland process.
Sure. Good evening. My name is Imad Nari. I'm from ETN Engineering. We are the engineering firm on the project. We did work with DNR on this application for almost like 5 months. We tried to minimize the number of wetlands that can be removed without affecting the development. We provided several designs for them. This is the one that actually provide the minimum amount of wetlands that we can remove. We believe that the wetlands grow. The wetlands at the bottom there wasn't there in 2007 when another firm submitted the plans. So just in looking at the whole wetlands that we have there, the big one we're not touching a lot. We try our best not to touch any area except that actually affecting our development. And this is the best design we can come up with the minimum amount of wetland that we can.
So you're using the retention pond to cover those areas that you're filling in?
Not the retention pond. Now, we're not allowed by Wisconsin DNR to use any removed wetland for a detention pond. As you can see, the lower one there will be 2 sites in there. The one that look like a thumb, that's outside the detention pond. And the one on the top there, it's also outside the detention pond. Wisconsin DNR doesn't allow you to actually use any removed wetlands for detention. So this actually affecting our development directly. You could not just avoid taking off.
So how are you going to make up that wetland area that you're filling in?
We did actually provide, if it's less than 10,000 square feet, according to Wisconsin DNR requirement, we don't need to do any mitigations. But if it's more than 10,000, then we have to make it up. I mean, the whole site is completely grass. We are providing some landscaping as required by the city. There is an outlet that's completely going to be grass, and the landscaping that we're providing.
So as long as I got you up here, it's 10,000 feet. Is that collectively for the entire subdivision plat, or is that for individual
Yeah, we are
areas?
under that, yes.
And how many square feet do we basically have?
We have like 2 acres of wetland, so we're only touching 10,000 out of that.
So you're under 10,000 square.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Is that it, Fred?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Chris?
I was gonna have questions about the wetlands, but they were answered.
Okay. Greg?
No questions right now.
Ashley?
So engineering had the opportunity to meet with a designer. We were provided about 50% plans, which is typical for the preliminary plat stage. Nothing alarming stood out, so we're looking forward to reviewing the final plan set and moving forward. As mentioned in the report, a development agreement will be required for all the public infrastructure, which would be the roads, the water main, the sanitary sewer, so working with the water and sewer utility on that, and then working through the stormwater management process as well, which will be reviewed and approved by City of Oak Creek along with MMSD, and then a stormwater maintenance agreement will also be required that will be recorded as well.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
Couple questions, a little bit confusing to me. So you see on the bottom screen, it says lot 1, yet there is another lot 1 on the bottom, bigger one.
Outlet.
Outlot is on the east and lot 1 is on the west.
Just use your cursor to show me what you're talking
So lot 1 is here on the west. the very bottom left corner. This is lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this is identified as outlot number 1. Okay.
Well, it's not showing up, but at bottom left, as we're looking at the screen, bottom left is lot 1. The house will actually occupy that spot eventually. And then if you go all the way to the right side, that's outlot 1, which will remain an open area. Oh, this lot 1 in the middle,
Yes.
that is an existing home to the south. That's their backyard. If you look at your aerial shot,
You go
you'll get a better view of that
There.
right there.
Okay.
There you go.
If you go back, I have another question. So the wetland that to be removed by the DNR permit, this is gonna be built to be part of the, yes, yes, oh, you left already. Yeah. So you have to state your name and address again.
Okay, Imad Nari from ETN Engineering. We are the engineering firm on the project.
Okay, so lot number 5, where it stated the red area here, that this is a wetland that's gonna be filled, right? Yes,
Yes.
okay. So this is the entire area is gonna be filled to be between lot 5 and 6?
Correct. That's 4,000 square feet.
Okay, so where is the drainage is gonna go for this area? Because this is wetland, right?
Yeah.
So how is the drainage gonna work here in this, within this developed area and outside of the developed area?
Yeah, once we add the 2 lots in there, we did submit drainage plans to the city. We were showing the where the area going to the basically the south, and there's a drainage pipe that takes all the flow to the north to the detention pond. Yeah. We took care of that.
So you're gonna have an easement, or how is this
Yeah,
gonna
there
work?
will be drainage easements. Yeah.
And this is the roadway, so it's gonna have like a cul-de-sac at the end, it's gonna be a dead end at the end to have access to all those lots?
Can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
Okay, so this is a local road, I believe, but it has this cul-de-sac at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's gonna have some driveways to have access to all those lots, I believe
Yeah,
so?
the outlet is not buildable. Is that what you're asking about? But all these lots that near the outlet will definitely, and the cul-de-sac, they will have a driveways.
And this pond is gonna be just for drainage, or what is this service of this pond?
We're gonna submit a full stormwater management plan that's taking care of the entire subdivision. So that detention pond is gonna take care of those 2 lots plus a portion of the street.
Okay, so the purpose of this pond is for,
Stormwater management, yeah,
okay,
required by city, DNR, and MMSD. So it's not only taking care of those 2 lots, actually it's taking care of a portion of the street also.
okay, that's my question. How about the wetland number 2? What is the removal of that wetland number 2? Why are we removing it?
If we don't remove it, then we cannot build, number 2, is that on the left side, is that correct?
The top wetland.
Yeah, because there would be a detention pond in the north, and there is a pipe gonna come and connect to the wetland, the existing wetland. So we cannot have the pipe going through an existing wetland, so we have to remove it.
I'm sorry, repeat it again?
Okay, one more time. We are proposing to put a detention pond on the north, and then that detention pond is gonna drain into that big wetland.
Okay,
We
I
cannot
got it.
go through there without removing that.
I got it. All right, thank you.
Okay. Most of my questions pretty much concern the wetlands, because it's really just subdivision plat, and everybody's getting a sense of how the layout's gonna fall for this. Not a super large one, so it's not overly complicated. Say fire in the house. Assistant Chief Havey isn't with
No,
us.
fire is not able to be here tonight.
Okay. I just usually ask if they have any questions or concerns. But other than that, I don't. So if there's no further discussions, questions, motion.
Lork moves to approve the preliminary subdivision plat submitted by Emid Nadi, ETN Engineering for the property at 9830 South Shepherd Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that all revisions are submitted to the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications. 3, that all required development and stormwater agreements and land use permits are coordinated with the engineering department. And 4, that all water and sewer utility connections are coordinated with Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility. And 5, that all reviewing agency comments, if any, are incorporated as required.
Guzekowski goes second.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Anna, I.
Ouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to new business, 9A. Review of a proposed master sign plan submitted by Dan Schaefer, Dr. Todd Cannell, Orthodontics, for a multi-tenant commercial building at 2031 East Rawson Avenue. Melanie?
The applicant is requesting approval for the proposed sign plan for wall signs on the existing multi-tenant building. Each tenant will be allowed a maximum of 48 inches by 112 inches for a sign that will be centered across and vertically on the sign band. On screen is the rendering of the locations of those signs, as well as the current conditions with no signs on the sign band and a night view. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Thank you. Is the applicant here, or does he want to state anything, or you want to wait on questions? Okay, he's indicated he'll wait on questions. We'll ramp right up. Christine, anything?
I have no question, thank you.
Steve?
I have no questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Fred?
I have a question about parking.
Well, it's a sign question.
What?
It's really not on the agenda for parking because it's an existing
well,
building.
I'm a little concerned about it, but that's okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We got to try to stick to the agenda as we go. So, I myself do not have any concern. I'm glad to see the building being used. And again, we can talk offline with your concerns with the multi-tenant building. So, okay. With that, motion.
Clerk moves to approve the master sign plan submitted by Dan Schaefer, Dr. Todd Connell, Orthodontics, for the multi-tenant commercial buildings at 2031 East Rawson Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect, and 2, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Fred.
Seifert, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Okay, that will get us to 9B, and it is a plan review. Review site and related plans submitted by Jeremiah Wilson, MG Foods, for installation of an outdoor storage tank on the property at 10303 South Oakview Parkway. Christy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The tenant, MG Foods, is proposing to install an outdoor nitrogen tank with a capacity of 3,000 gallons of liquid nitrogen. Their production has grown. They have a 50-gallon tank inside, and hence the need and request for the installation of this exterior tank. The tank will be located approximately 52 feet out from the building, kind of in the middle of the site, if you will. It will be protected, if you could go to the next slide, protected by a chain link fence with bollards so that, they don't have any accidents of vehicles, interfering with the tank. And then before you is an example of what this nitrogen tank will look like. There is a concrete pad poured, and it's just projecting west of that, the equipment that projects outside of the building today. So the tank itself will be 19 feet tall. by 7 feet wide. With that, staff has was recommending approval with the conditions listed before you. This is a view. Oops, sorry. Can you go back? It's a viewpoint from the north side of the facility, and then the previous slide showed the vantage point from the south side.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Is the applicant, would they like to say anything before we go on to questions? He's indicated he will wait. I do have one resident, although not a public hearing, wishing to speak. I'll invite them up at this time. Rob and Maria. Name and address, please.
Maria Malechko, 431 West Oakwood Road. Excuse me. I'm just would like to start with just reading an email that I sent today to Mr. Mayor, Ms. Lane, Ms. Perez, and Mr. Gell. It's a follow-up to some interaction that I had requested for the business operations plan with MG Foods. So the email that's sent today, in case you didn't have a chance to get it or read it, I said to follow up regarding my email sent on Friday, August 9th. Ms. Lane sent me an email yesterday, Monday, August 12th, which included the written plan commission report from November 4th, 2020 for the proposal of a conditional use permit, as well as the written description of proposal for the facility located at 10303 South Oakview Parkway, written on October 20th, 2020. I know you have a difficult job, however, the noise coming from the building is a real issue for us that is impacting our quality of life. This noise is not just a nuisance. Is there really nothing that clarifies the operations of this building? I'm surprised that there's a consideration of approving an addition to this building during this evening's meeting without understand how they're currently using it. I understand that the agenda item is to propose installation of an outdoor storage tank on the property of MG Foods. Upon further review of this proposal, the outdoor storage tank is in fact a nitrogen storage tank holding 3,000 gallons of nitrogen, which will be filled once per week and will be located on the west side of the building, which is adjacent to our home, behind the refrigeration units in the middle of the parking lot, 52 feet out from the building, 19 feet tall and 7 feet wide. Again, this will be a noise issue, including hissing, knocking, and popping. Review of the written description of the proposal of the facility indicates that outdoor storage is limited to trash and recycling enclosures for dumpsters required by the tenants. If this is the case, then an additional outdoor storage unit being proposed this evening does not comply with the description above. I did have a conversation with the alderperson today, and hopefully we can come to a meeting and figure all this out with the noise.
Would you like to speak, Rob? Yes. Yeah. Just your name and address, please.
Yeah, Rob Malechko, 431 West Oakwood Road, Oak Creek. I think the issue that I have is partly a response from Christy Lane. She was not able to produce a statement of operations for MG Foods. I don't know if that, I believe it's required.
Well, when that building went up, it was a spec building, meaning the tenant had not yet committed to the space. So when he came in, he fits the description that fits an M1 zoning. So they went in there. They still have to be code compliant. So the email you sent out on the 8th, whatever we got, I did not respond because Christy did, and it's just redundant stuff going back and forth.
The digging that she did.
Right, and we're a little off the agenda here, so apologize to Fred because I shut him down again. But anyhow, to get back to it, it wasn't defined, but our code compliance officer on the complaints you had, and if I remember right from the original email, it was more about idling trucks and things like that.
Yeah, we don't know if it's the trucks or it's an actual droning sound inside of our home. Like,
okay, well,
it could be the refrigeration unit, but whatever it is, it's really
either way, we're going to have to do some investigation into it rather than make assumptions here. You know, our code does cover like trucks and things like that, but they're more attuned to trucks without mufflers, things of that nature. But we all want to coexist in a good way here. So, you know, we will be trying to work with the applicant and figure out a means to the end if it's truly that high in the decimal range.
So, and I realize, you know, it was a conditional use without a tenant, but I would think that once a tenant is established, that they shouldn't just have carte blanche to operate however.
No, if
they
it's a
choose.
recycling center or something like that, I mean, it definitely raises a flag, but their operation at the time, and I'd be a liar to say I wasn't here, because I'm always here for this kind of stuff. I don't recall that particular one being a problem in any way, shape, or form. But again, we do have the applicant here, and maybe he can describe exactly what MG Foods is doing.
Sure.
Okay.
And it would be nice to know, you know, just how many days a week they are operating, and if when there are no employees in the building, you know, what activity or what equipment is running.
What the source of all the droning that we hear in the house.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Let me invite the applicant up, and we'll just kind of get a quick overview, and then we'll get back to the tank itself, okay? Maybe we can kind of clear some of this up and save staff some time. Sir, could I invite you up, please? We'll need your name and address.
Jeremiah Wilson, 4839 West Lindale Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53220.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Kind of just tell us MG Foods and what you do. Are you a storage place? You a processing place?
We're a food packaging place, so we have an actual full-size kitchen inside of our building. Our big building you see from outside, we have another building inside of the building, so it's fully refrigerated. There's, you know, insulation, everything. We make the food in-house, package it. It's mapped, so that's why we use nitrogen. Has up to like a 7 or 11 days shelf life. Anything from burgers, sandwiches, some desserts. We make salads, wraps. Some of our customers are Trader Joe's. We just did the RNC. So from outside our building, there's not very much noise coming from our building itself. There are other, you know, companies over there. We do have trucks that, you know, pull in and out. AIM is right next to us. They are a freight, you know, storage company, so they also have semi-trucks coming in constantly all day long.
Are you a 24-hour operation?
No, we're not. We're just first shift.
Oh, you're just first shift. Okay. Again, we're a little off topic here, and we'll get back to it, but, you know, maybe staff will be contacting you, and they're going to do their investigative side to see, because from what we understand, it's a 24-hour nuisance going on currently.
Yeah, we start production at 6 a.m. and we're usually done by 4:35, 5 at the latest. We are USDA and FDA regulated, so we can't run past 5:30 because of USDA. Saturdays, if we do run, we have to get approval from USDA. So we do not run usually on the weekends. If we are there on the weekends, it's pack out. So they're just package and shipping orders.
It'd be an equipment thing, but we'll do, you know.
We don't have forklifts. We have electric forklift, like one electric pallet jack and one, you know, bigger.
Your refrigeration units outside currently? Yeah,
they're right where the nitrogen tank is going. They're behind the building instead of on top of the building.
Okay. Thanks. I think that's helpful, but we'll get back to the nitrogen tank. But I appreciate that. With that, I will go to the commission. Christine?
Yes, I have actually a couple questions there. One of the concern is truck access. Where is the truck accessing your business from?
From South Park, from Oakview Parkway, so around the corner.
Where's the main road? Main road, where is it coming from? Is it coming from?
From Air Gas.
Is it coming from
That's
Howell?
our supply company.
Then going access to Oakwood and coming inside your industrial park, or how is it coming from? How is your access, I guess, to your building?
The same access that all the semi trucks use, and we also have employee parking in the back.
So the park,
only have
I don't
one
see it.
the park can be accessed off Oakwood as well as Howell.
See,
Depending
on,
where-
We just have one entrance to the back of our building. parking
Correct,
lot.
but entrance to the business park itself has 2 entrances.
Oh, yes.
okay, because there is no trucks allowed on Oakwood Road. So that's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay.
How is accessing Oakwood and there is no trucking on
Well,
Oakwood?
there's no trucks supposedly west.
Yes,
West of the parcel.
yeah, so that's what I'm trying to understand. Where is it coming from?
Your truck's coming from the east side of the parcel?
I'm not 100% sure of which route the trucks will drive.
Okay, and we have to make sure because some of the resident, if the trucks are coming from the west side of Oakwood, that will create some noise.
Okay.
So this is something.
Let's get back to the tank.
Yes,
We wrestle with this all the time. We're well aware of the truck problem.
yeah. This is one thing. The tank, you're right, let's go back to the tank here. You said that there is gonna be some chain link fence around it?
Yeah, there's a 6-foot tall chain link fence with barbed wire on top.
Yeah, but you have trucks going back and forth, like backing up and in and out, so,
There's bollards.
Yeah, there's
So-
going to be ballards, and it's going to be right up against pretty much the same width as what's there currently, so the trucks will not have an issue with anything sticking out further than the ballards that are there currently surrounding the refrigeration unit.
are those bollard concrete?
Yes.
Okay, so not
So
just like
the
that.
current ones are not concrete. Those are metal.
Okay, so the proposed one are gonna be concrete?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Steve?
Does this create any noise?
The tank itself is just a holding tank, so it's not a nitrogen compressor tank or anything. It's just going to be filled and just piped straight into the building. We currently have a truck that comes once a week that drops off anywhere between 6 to 8 tanks that we run inside our building. Those tanks don't make any noise. They're just grade liquid nitrogen tanks.
So this tank, is this just one extra load or?
Yeah, they're just gonna do one load each week. And then this will save us having to move around tanks inside the building and keep changing them out.
Further questions?
Thanks, Steve. Ashley?
And no questions from engineering. Thank you.
Greg?
If there were to be any type of sound,
Mm-hmm.
is there any potential to enclose it with more of a privacy type fence to dampen that sound versus chain link? I don't know what the requirement for visibility of the tank.
I don't believe that would be possible just because it is
Go ahead, that's it.
Chris?
Good question on the location. The sign that's up, or the picture, go back to the last one, please. So the left picture, you see those cones?
Yep.
Is that where the proposed tank is going?
No, that's just where they put the cones to block off the pad that they poured.
Okay, so it's further in the middle of the parking lot ish.
No,
It's closer to the building or further away from the building.
the pad,
Yeah, where it's going. Yes,
that is the pad where the tank will go.
that is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, then I'm good with it. Thank you. Right.
Yeah, Melanie, has the fire department looked at this and they agreed with it?
Yes, the fire department has looked at it. We did have a pre-planning meeting to discuss any comments and concerns that any departments has, and they did not express anything for me to bring up tonight in their absence.
Thank you.
Okay. As far as it goes, the tank, I don't have an issue with the tank. The sound, it's odorless, it's colorless, it's basically nitrogen makes up about 80% of the atmosphere. It's not going to hurt much. As far as the fence goes, I'm okay with that. That's protection. It's 6 foot high. It keeps people from going over. The truck has to be able to open the gate. They are going to put 18 bollards around there, so they're going to drill into the ground. So if a truck were to accidentally back into it, similar, they got a guardrail right now around compressor units there, heat exchangers. But that just wouldn't protect this tank all in all when you're dealing with, obviously hazmat type stuff. You want it more secure. So don't have a lot of issues with that. As I said, we will. Yes, ma'am. You'll have to come back to the mic, but you can. Come on up. You're more important than me. Come on up. Talk.
The berm that is built between us and the facility is about 13 feet high. It covers most of the trucks that back up to the berm, which is right next to our property. This is going to be 19 feet.
Correct.
Yeah.
And, something, we didn't anticipate it, but keep in mind the building's probably about 35. So the trees, when they do the berms, it's easy to say just make the berms higher, but when you make them higher, you make them wider. And they start getting into the stormwater and everything that's affected. So the idea is put the trees on the berm, and you got that 13-foot cheater spot for the tree to grow, and then they put 6-foot trees on there, so you're at 19 now, and hopefully you get a foot a year on them. No consolation for you, but that's how they kind of go about this stuff. As long as you're up there, anything else, we'll talk with staff about working with MG about the droning noise.
Yeah.
You say it's pretty much constant all the time.
So what I would say is, even during hours where there are no employees,
correct,
there's definitely something running, and I'm guessing it's a refrigeration unit. Maybe that's vertical on the side of the building. But like Sunday morning, I would invite any of you or all of you over for coffee to listen to what we listen to.
Okay. Well, to ease you, we're going to investigate it. I'll try to take a ride by there and see, but we'll work with them as best we can. Is this something that started recently or ever since they moved in?
It's been since they moved in, but honestly, I feel like it was a nuisance at first, but it's so loud now. It's become intolerable.
And again, I'm just spitballing here. You could have a failing piece of equipment with bad bearing or something like that. Could be a simple fix for.
And it sounds different in the house than it does outside the house. And inside the house, you hear what's like it's really loud, and we have to crank up our TV. And you go outside, and it just sounds like trucks. It's hard to describe.
Either way, to get back to it, staff will be in touch with you one way or the next.
That would be our number one answer that we'd be looking for, is what is causing that particular sound.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question for you about that. Is it 24 hours or is certain hours of the day?
Well, when we're sleeping, we don't hear it, but
but like before you go to sleep.
It's especially bad on Sundays in the mornings, morning till about dinner time. It's the worst. It's like I almost left last weekend. I said I can't take it. So,
after 5 p.m. during weekdays.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to pay closer attention, but the evenings are quieter. But it's the weekends that it's really bad.
Because there is noise ordinance. They need to be followed. So
That's
is what
I was
I'm trying
questioning
to
as well. And
understand.
I was told that there was no noise ordinance for this facility.
But you are near residential area, so that's what I'm trying to understand.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why we asked for the operations information for hours and noise
And just to clarify, there's no requirement for a statement of operations.
Normally, when they come in for conditions and restrictions, we'll ask for the hours and are you 24/7, 7 days a week? What's your operations? In this case, when the building went in, there wasn't. And if they came in, we probably approved it because it wasn't 24/7. And they literally fit what the zoning is. So
in the email from Christy Lane, I don't know how this is possible, but she did say that the conditional use permit was issued on January 1st, January 1st of 2021. I don't see how that's even possible.
It could have been done before that and processed effective that date. You know, don't hold me to that, but that's would be my thing, because I can tell you I wasn't sitting in his chair on any January 1st.
Yeah, gotcha.
Gotcha. So, okay.
All right, thank you.
If there's anything else on the tank, nothing, motion.
Seifert moves that the Planning Commission approves the site plans submitted by Jeremiah Wilson, M.G. Foods for installation of an outdoor storage tank on the property at 10303 South Oakview Parkway with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call beginning with Christine.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Okay. Moving on, that will get us to, holy smokes, where am I? 9C, conditions and restrictions related to a request submitted by Josh Brown of Lifford Lumber and Hardware for an outdoor storage on the property at 6826 South 13th Street. Melanie.
As mentioned, the conditional use permit is for outdoor storage on this property. On screen is that conceptual site plan with the outdoor storage location and parking that was mentioned at the previous Plan Commission meeting. Conditions and restrictions will include allowing the outdoor storage within the designated areas in the approved site plan. They must follow all fire code. Since no one from fire is able to be here tonight, they shared with me a couple things they wanted me to say. Their biggest concerns were about access roads and water supply. The access road from 10th Street that has been gated or chained off, if it does remain to be blocked, they request that there will be a Knox padlock so that the fire department can open it if they need to gain access from the location from the 10th Street access. Any new or replacement lighting must be approved by the Plan Commission. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Thank you, Melanie. Would the applicant like to speak, or just kind of wait on questions? Can wait. Thank you. Let's go right to it. Christine?
I have no questions.
Steve?
I have no questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
And Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Fred?
No questions.
I have none at all. We've been through this a couple of times, so if there's no other discussion, motion please.
Clerk moves to recommend that the Common Council adopt the conditions and restrictions as part of the conditional use permit for outdoor storage on the property at 6826 South 13th Street.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call beginning with Steve.
Ouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Okay. Item 9D is conditional use permit consideration requested by Caitlin LaJoy, Brian Builders Corporation for Gray Faucets Company. It's a conditional use permit for a warehouse, small retail warehouse, and storage on the properties at 1901 and 1941 East Rawson Avenue. Melanie?
Thank you. So just to clarify think of the word.
What's that?
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word.
Oh.
Just to clarify what.
Oh, it's one of them nights. Don't worry about
yes,
it.
It
happens
is.
to me
really
all
is.
the time.
Just to clarify the conditional use permit, this is strictly on the use for this property. The property is owned LM1, Light Manufacturing, so we're just going to be going through that. There will be no discussion about site plan, any landscaping, or locations of anything. With that, the proposed Proposed uses are retail under 50,000 square feet and small scale warehousing and storage under 200,000 square feet. That is verbiage from the zoning code, which is why it is how it's said. Previously, the Plan Commission has seen the zoning text amendment for LM1 to allow these two uses. The Common Council meeting for their public hearing was actually canceled last week, so that it was moved to September 3rd. Staff does not see any issues in allowing or going forward with this conditional use permit review today, as well as the conditions and restrictions. That is due to the earliest possible time for a public hearing on this will be in October. So it will be approved or gone through by council before that even goes. On screen is that conceptual site plan that has been seen prior. With that, the suggested motion is on screen.
Wonderful. Thank you, Melanie. Applicant, would you like to say anything or wait on questions? Okay. Quite a few residents. I would imagine we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Does anybody want to say anything, have any questions from the residents' point of view before I go to the commission? Okay. Seeing none. Fred, will you start us off, please?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Chris?
Same, no questions.
Greg?
So the conceptualized use of this property, this will only be retail and storage, correct? No manufacturing of parts or anything like that. Okay. Yep. No other questions, I guess.
Ashley?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
Yes, so actually I have a question to the applicant.
Name and address, please.
Caitlin LaJoy, Bryan Building, 3885 North Brookfield Road, Brookfield, Wisconsin, 53045.
So kind of what the alderman has asked, this is just for storage purposes, no actual manufacturing or any...
Correct, there's no manufacturing here.
So it's just for delivery, so they're going to be trucking in and out?
It's primarily a warehouse with a component up front for office and a showroom if you'll have it. And that's specifically for clients only. They're not open to the public. And it's pretty limited trucking. Daily, it will be just your typical passenger vans and then about 3 to 5 trucks per month with deliveries out. And that will be covered with the site plan submittal coming later this month.
So you say this is for showrooms, so by appointment only, or is it just open for the public as they come in, or?
It is not open to the public. They are specific to vendors only, and those vendors have appointments.
Okay. So the parking slots are sufficient for
Correct.
that? Okay. So that has been checked, and the access is sufficient from the perspective. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I myself have no questions on it. It's vast improvement to what's there. And the zoning does fit this. This is really why that type of zoning is created here in Oak Creek. And a building like this really fills that need. So with that, if there's no further discussion, motion.
York moves to recommend that the Common Council approve a conditional use permit for a warehouse, small retail warehouse, and storage on the property is at 1901, 1941 East Rawson Avenue after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions that will be prepared for the Plan Commission's review at the next meeting, August
27th.
2024. Thank you.
Kuzikowski, a second.
Roll call. Beginning with Ashley?
Kipchinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Kuzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And aye.
Ouch, aye.
Okay. Item 9E, plan review. Site and related plans submitted by Jim Mogg, Pitt Ohio Express LLC for exterior modifications to the terminal on the property at 700 East Rawson. A lot of First District stuff tonight. Christy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The application before you is to make some exterior building improvements and modifications to the existing building. This is a site that you don't even know exists. It's set back so far from Rawson and from Howell. The driveway access is off of Rawson. You drive to the site of Zone Manufacturing. It's been used by and owned by Yellow Freight. It's been vacant for approximately 3 years and recently purchased by the Pitt Ohio Express LLC. And so they do have a valid occupancy permit. They worked with the inspection. They did some HVAC improvements to get the building up and running again. As mentioned, it's been vacant for 3 years. Now their next phase is to actually improve the exterior of the building. You can see the pictures before you. Oh, sorry, well, let's existing conditions of the terminal. It's an open air building. It's really bizarre. There's no walls, there's no doors. If it was winter right now, snow would just be blowing inside. The staff would be exposed to the elements of the weather. So they're trying to protect the business, the operations, and their staff, obviously, by making improvements to install walls on the eastern half. You go back to the other slide. The eastern half of the site, the building, is what they're going to focus on now because that is what they're occupying. They have a future improvement area on the west side for a future tenant when that time comes. You can see there's a small office building on the very east side that's constructed of brick. So the proposal is to install metal siding, gray in color, Sherwin-Williams software gray, and install doors white in color, and then replace man doors or repair them where needed. Obviously, the site is in desperate need of improvements, and so this is the proposal before you, is to install the exterior metal siding to be painted. The staff did ask for one particular site improvement. The applicant is in agreement to this. You can see that there's a screening wall on the south side of the office building that's obviously in disrepair over the years, being neglected. It's, you know, this is kind of like an outdoor, little bit of an outdoor storage garbage area. So this is just to protect it from view. So the applicant is proposing to install a chain link slatted fence. Again, will not be visible from the street, only visible to employees who are coming into the site, but it'll be much better condition than the existing fence as it is today. With that being said, there's a suggested motion, and this is the italicized numbers 2 and 3. I failed to actually list in the report, but there are very standard language, so I just wanted to make sure to point out that those should be added to the suggested motions. And then also the applicant does have a few slides. They would like to just kind of introduce themselves to the community and the other sites that they have throughout, and how they do make improvements to the properties that they purchase over time. And I think they would just like to introduce themselves and say a little bit more about their business.
Wonderful. You'd like to come up, please do. Applicants. And again, as standard for the minutes, we need your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Terry Reed, W9323 Peterson Drive, Iron Mountain, Michigan, 49801. I'm the president of U.S. Special Delivery, and we are very happy to be in that building. We've operated terminals in Milwaukee area for 37 years, various terminals, and we've been in business for 49 years. And I've been there 45 years, and I've never seen another terminal that was open like that in the upper Midwest because of the weather we have. And so it was a little bit of a shock when we first saw that, but I just wanted to introduce ourselves as who's occupying the building, and then we've got a few other people that traveled from Ohio and Pennsylvania that can answer any questions on the plans. And so thank you very much for considering this for us. I just want to also tell you that the inspectors in Oak Creek did a fantastic job as far as working with us. They really know their stuff. Scott, Mario, Jeff Lynch. So we really appreciate their help.
Thank you. Thank you. We take a lot of pride in our staff, and we have nothing but confidence in them, and they want businesses to succeed and do things right. It may be seem a little nitpicky at times, but they're trying to get it right the first time. That's what they're trying to do, and protect person and property at the same time. Wonderful. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Joel from Pitt, Ohio, 1527th Street, Pittsburgh, PA. It's our headquarters. Came up here to talk with you guys, explain to you our standards and what we're all about, our history. We span from Nebraska to Maine. We're over 20 states, and we have 180 properties that we maintain. I can tell you that I'll invite you to any one of our properties, and this is not what they look like. You can see from these photos, we continually put maintenance into our building. We have CapEx every year. We maintain every property. We're over $1 million in CapEx last year. We plan to continue to work on this building, and this is not our standard, and I promise you it will get better every year. Here to address any questions you have, answer any concerns.
Thank you. They may call you back, but not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mike Schober, 2835 Southmoreland Road, New Berlin. I'm an attorney, although I don't think there's any legal issues here, but I've been doing this for 55 years, and I do have a perspective on it that I think I'd like to share with you. First of all, they're going to be making improvements upwards of $10 million. It's going to be a significant addition to the tax base. If you've seen the other projects they've had, they're serious about getting it done right. The other people that are here tonight include the architect and the builder on your far left side, who have done this type of construction in the past, and you can see their other projects. Mr. Rick Eaton is sitting in the front row here, and he would tell you, if you want to take the time, about how he worked for Roadway at the time this building was built in about 2004, and how it was a mistake from the beginning. It shouldn't have been done the way it was. The setup could work in Tallahassee, Florida, but it's not going to work very well here. He could tell you about the injuries that have occurred because they had outfitted a forklift with a plow on the front to plow it. They snow blow it. They shovel it out. When I was down there, I'm looking at piles of pigeon poop on the floor, and across the support beams, there's a line of pigeon poop across the floor. I don't know how the people who work there can be in a very safe environment. So the idea here is to take the first 60 doors as they extend west from the offices and do them now. And when a new tenant might come on board, or perhaps if U.S. Special Delivery can be successful and expand, they would continue this process of closing off the building to make it, among other things, safe. So one last comment. Do you, Mayor, know Jim Seatman, a developer out in Waukesha County?
Jim
Seatman?
I've ran across him.
You look strikingly like him. That's not a...
Or a guy.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's anything else, but I think that's what we want you to know as you discuss this. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Okay. With that, we can probably go right to the commission. Christine?
Yes, actually, I have questions to the applicant.
Joel Papsunik, Pitt Ohio Express, 1527th Street, Pittsburgh, PA.
So I understand that you are going to improve this site, right, from the safety and installing those doors and adding this, fixing the chain link fence and all of that. So, and then until the future tenant is going to be doing that. So who are those future tenants from when you are doing all of that, or what you're doing it for?
So we're using the facility as a cross-dock facility. We don't have a tenant in mind right now for that second portion of that project, but it'll be a tenant similar to that. It won't be warehousing. We're all cross-dock facilities.
So I guess maybe I did not quite understand that. What type of tenants do you have in mind, or
So
similar
Pitt,
what
Ohio
you're
may
looking at?
occupy it. It depends. We have a couple different sister companies, like U.S. Special Deliveries is who Terry works for. We work with them. They help us span the entire way across the nation. We would have another company similar to them come in once we find a need and can fully occupy this building. We haven't had dirt in this area to this date, so we're expanding. Terry come in, is able to help us out a ton. They help us, traverse across the nation. So I don't have a tenant in mind right now, but it will be something very similar, be same use.
Okay. So do you see any reason for beyond the site impact, like on the roadway impact possibly?
No, we don't have any, we're not going to add any doors, so we're not changing any use from when Yellow used to operate out of it. We just don't have the tenant to occupy the entire building at this time, so we're sectioning it off.
Okay. So whatever you have right now, you're going to use whatever access to the roadway that you have is what you're going to.
That's correct. Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's no future site improvements or added drive aisles or anything like that in mind at this time.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you.
No problem.
Steve?
My question just got answered, so no further questions.
Okay. Ashley?
I have no questions, thank you.
Greg?
Definitely improvement to the site. I do believe the old site used to have underground fuel storage tanks. Do you use them currently or plan on bringing them into compliance with the state?
Terry, you guys are not using the fuel island at this time, correct? Yeah, we're not using that at this time. We have a lot of facilities where we'll put up new fuel canopies. We bring in new tanks. We typically start from scratch, be new double wall compliant tanks. We have a whole safety division in our company that would be going through the full plan submission and making sure we meet all the EPA requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Chris?
I think it's gonna make it look a lot nicer there and well worth. I'm happy you're doing it. Welcome to Oak Creek.
Yes, thank you. Happy to be here.
Brad?
No questions at this time.
Okay. The only question I have, you're going to use the western portion, whatever number of bays that is, and then you'll wait on the other one. Are you guys going to put up a temporary wall or something?
So we have this
to
in
block
several of our
everything?
other facilities. What we typically do is just a chain link fence across it with swing gates in it so they have access through both sides, but it just separates the dock and keeps freight from migrating from one side to the other and kind of draws that demising line.
Okay. Great improvement. Thank you for coming in Old Creek and rescuing this property. Obviously, it was in distress and needed some attention. So I wish you all a success, and thank you for the input back to our employees. They don't always get that all the time, so it means a lot. And like I said, they're out there really trying their best. Sometimes businesses don't quite appreciate it, but I would stack up Oak Creek with anybody in the state. So
Awesome. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you all.
great, thank you. With that, if there's no further discussion, motion.
Org moves to approve the site and architectural plan submitted by Jim Mogg, Pitt Ohio Express LLC for the property located at 700 East Rawson Avenue with the following conditions. 1, revised plans are submitted showing the fence screen wall on the south side of the building, the office building, being removed and replaced with a new solid fence, including material details and a cut sheet of the proposed fence. 2, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. And 3, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Greg.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Kuzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And an aye.
Ouch, aye.
Jinsky, aye.
Okay, that will get us to our final one. Is 8F and is plan review. Review the site and related plans submitted by Daryl Simpson, doing business as the Sanders Trust, and Matt Korek, doing business as R.A. Smith, for the construction of an inpatient rehabilitation hospital on the property at 7869 South 13th Street. Christy, you want to take that one?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This site has gone through a recent certified survey map to combine 2 parcels and also a rezoning of the northern portion that you see highlighted here to match the I institutional zoning of the southern portion. So what's being proposed today is the actual construction of a $35 million 40-bed inpatient rehab hospital. When we say rehab hospital, it's the hospital, you're in a hospital for whatever reason, they're ready to kick you out, but you're not ready to go home. You still need some occupational therapy, physical therapy, whatever it may be. Average stay is probably close to 7 days, if not less than that. So this is a facility, and there's quite a shortage of these type of facilities in the Milwaukee area. So this is what's being proposed before you. Again, a 40-bed inpatient rehab hospital. At their peak shift, they would have 50 employees, a total of about 100. So they obviously it's a 24-hour operating facility. So they do have the 3 shifts. Anticipated that we lost. That's okay. I'll keep talking.
Nice looking building up there.
It's anticipated that the project will be built in a roughly 1-year time frame, and that they hope to start late 2024 or early 2025. So they are proposing a total of 100 off-street parking space. Excuse me, proposing 117. The code requires 100, so they are meeting parking requirements per the zoning code. They have 2 different parking areas on the north side of the building, which is more where their employees are going to park, and then the south side of the building where patients or visitors and the drop-off canopy will be located on the south side, visible from Drexel Avenue. Oh, it's still not. Oh, sorry. I'll just keep talking. The pretty pictures are in your packet. So the site itself, again, has got the building situated kind of in a north-south fashion. The building itself will be constructed almost entirely of face brick. So it's a really beautiful, great-looking building. It meets the code regarding materials, obviously, being that it's constructed of face brick, and meets the building, excuse me, the parking requirements per the zoning code. Submitted a substantial landscaping plan, and then they also submitted a photometric plan, which is included in your packet. I'll flip through. They do have a refuse enclosure in the back area off of the street. The northwest corner of the building will be the refuse enclosure. Staff did ask, when this redevelopment area was constructed and the infrastructure was constructed, there was a walking path to connect on the west side of the street. It's not aligning with the way that the site plan is laid out, so staff is just, asking the applicants to work with realigning a new safe crosswalk area, and the street curb cuts that will be closed because it doesn't quite align with how the site is proposed. So with that, staff recommends approval, subject to the conditions that were in the report before you. Sorry, technical difficulties.
We'll get there.
Getting there. You have to do the code. Great. There we go. I think we're fine. Yeah, sure, we can show them the motion. Yeah, I think I said what I needed to say. It just didn't have the pictures to accommodate. Sorry.
Before I go to the commission, if the applicant wants to come up, or you can wait on questions. Our guys have sat through everything tonight. So. Okay. Excellent. Brad, how about starting us off? Anything?
I think it looks good. We finally got that corner taken care of. We've
Yeah.
had several different proposals for that corner. It's nice that they're gonna
Beautiful
put
looking
this in.
building.
Looks good.
Chris?
I don't have any questions. I think it's a good looking building, nice addition to the corner.
Craig?
No questions, thank you.
Ashley?
Just one item to note. So a stormwater management plan was submitted for the entire Highgate development back in 2019, I believe. The parcel that this rehab hospital will occupy was included with that stormwater management plan. So R.A. Smith has already provided us with a stormwater management plan just to verify that their proposed plans do meet that original stormwater management plan that had been approved.
Steve?
Great looking building.
Christine?
Maybe everybody knows what is DBA stands for.
Doing business as.
Okay. So what is doing business as R.S. Smith?
That's
This means
the
they're an
architect.
employee, they're a representative of that company.
So they are the representative of R.S. Smith, the design company, or the construction?
That particular person, yes.
No, I have no questions regarding the building or anything whatsoever. I was just curious about what is that naming is and what is that relation to R.S. Smith. Thank you.
Okay. Just a couple of comments. First of all, bravo on the building. Looks great. I always wanted a nice signature building for that development, and I think we found it. Kudos to you going to all masonry rather than just a standard tip-up. I know you got some there, but just a wonderful look. I just really like it. We're hoping for something like that on the corner. And I'm really pleased. So thank you. Fair amount of glass in there. It kind of fits our city. Kind of see what our style is just based on City Hall here. And this, I think, will be a great addition. Keep in mind, this isn't like an emergency room type hospital where we're going to have ambulances running in and out. This is after surgery, probably rehabilitation, physical, occupational, things of that nature. Looks great. I think it's well designed. I like where the dumpster is going. That'll be in block as well. So, boy, not often I got, much to say. You'll be back through here a couple of times, unfortunately, but it's necessary. We'll get to look at everything going forward. So, if there's no further discussion, motion on that.
Clerk moves to approve the site and related plans submitted by Daryl Simpson, doing business as the Sanders Trust, and Matt Kukurek, doing business as R.A. Smith, for the construction of an inpatient rehabilitation hospital on the property at 7869 South 13th Street with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that the plans are revised to reconnect the pedestrian walkway sidewalks between the east and west side of South Highgate Avenue. 3, that the engineering department has verified compliance of regional stormwater detention within the entirety of the Highgate development. 4, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Wonderful.
Go second.
And we got a second. I will start the roll call. Aye. Bukevich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Wonderful. Thank you, folks. Thank you for coming into Oak Creek. Just stay in touch with our staff, and I assure you it'll be a painless process. We work pretty well here. So, other than that, announcements. I believe we got a beer garden this weekend in Drexel Town Square, if I'm not mistaken. I think it kicks off Thursday night and runs through Saturday. So if you want to visit it, Drexel Town Square, and as always, Farmers Market continues. Anything else going on? That's it? Quiet. Okay. Quiet's good. If nothing else, motion for adjournment, please.
Seifert moves to adjourn the meeting at 7:40.
Clark seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Ouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
David Chai. Good night, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it.